Hey guys, another PR triathlon coaching video just to help you try to learn. I know I've been saying for a long time I'm going to show you how to take your wheels on and off and change a flat. All that stuff I'm going to try to cover real quick today, and our new friend Madeline is here to help me out. She's going to be the voice of reason while I try to go through and teach you guys what's happening. So let's get right to it. With triathlon bikes, there are two things that you need to be prepared for in a race or in a training is a flat tire. On my bike, I have a X-Lab carrier on the back. It's got my CO2 cartridges wrapped in here, and I also have a changer and a place to put my key, and you can actually screw in CO2 cartridges there. This is my spare tire and my CO2 cartridge in here so it doesn't rattle around a lot. As much as the bulkiness of it looks like, it can save you, especially in a long course race, like to keep in the race. Different types of tires. Most of us are racing on clinchers, meaning you have a tube inside of them and you're going to change them. The first thing I'm going to show you how to do real quick is how to take your tires off your bike. So if you get a front tire flat, which Madeline looks like she has, you can see it's a little flat right there. The first thing you want to do, I'm going to hand this to Madeline, she's going to take over, is you're going to release your quick release on your brake lever. So it goes up, the brakes come apart, now your wheel can come undone. You open your quick release and unscrew it enough to loosen the wheel. At that point, you should be able to lift up the front of your bike and your wheel comes right off. Now, just carefully set your bike down so that you're not getting it in the grass or whatever. So now you have the flat wheel in your hands. You can see it's pretty flat. We will get back to that, but I'm going to show you how to take the back wheel off real quick. There's really no difference in any of the triathlon bikes of how the back wheel comes off. The same thing as the front. The skewer opens up, you open up your quick release here. Looks like she already had hers open. Sometimes you have to check those things. And then you're going to unscrew these in opposite directions until you feel the wheel is loose. You're going to pick up your chain and pull it off the skewer. At that point, the wheel should drop straight down. And I'm hoping I can get that away. Yep, like that. Sometimes you gotta work it a little bit around the skewer, and it should pop right out of there. Hold on. I don't want to screw up your brand new bike.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, that gear should drop down. So you can sometimes manhandle it a little bit and push it down. So once you have that off, you're just going to lay it softly on its side and try not to bang it too much. Now your back wheel is off. We're going to actually change both of her tires today, but for now we're only going to do one for the video. So that's how you take your wheels off. They basically go on the same way. When you're putting your back wheel on, you pull the chain gear up out of the way, put the skewer with the cog set on that side, on the drivetrain side of your bike, and then put it back and tighten it down. So we're going to come over here. So I'm going to get a towel out of my car real quick. Because the grease on your bike is hellacious for the most part. It just gets on everything and it's really hard to get away from. So you have your tube that goes inside your wheel. There's two different size wheels, 650s and 700s. Most of us, 95% of us, are riding 700 wheels. Madeline happens to have a 650. That was real popular back in the professional women's race days. So we're going to get the wheel and the new tire, which most people don't need new tires, but she went ahead and got new tires because she wants to start her season out with brand new tires. If you just get a flat in a race, you'll just have to change the tube for the most part. So I'm going to go down like this so I can get close up here and show you what I've got going on. You really only need three things for changing the tire. And most times on the side of the road, these things are already wrapped in my my changing little kit I have on my seat post on my bike. These are just called tire levers. They're what allow you to pry the tire off. Here's your tube, here's your tire, here's your air supply. For most of us racing on our bikes, we have the CO2 cartridge and the inflator, which is that tiny little thing I pointed out earlier. So first thing you're going to do is take the cap off your tube valve, unscrew the valve nut, which is basically just seats it up against your rim and keeps it from rattling around a lot. Put those in a place next to you. Remember, during a race, if this happens, you cannot leave anything on the ground or outside of on the race course. It's a 4-minute penalty. You're responsible to pick up everything there is left on the race if you leave it there. Again, just leave it the way it was. First thing I'm trying to do, and this is the hardest part of changing a tire, is getting the lever under the edge of the tube or tire and pulling that rim seat, or that seat. See where that little bead in there is? A little piece of metal inside the rubber. So we're trying to get that to come out of the rim. And sometimes, this sounds gross, but I lick them because wetness slips. And it makes it a lot easier sometimes to get the rim to come apart. Those seats, there we go. See, a little spit never hurt. And if you're like me and you sweat like a hooker in church, just rub it on your head.
Oh.
I'm not joking.
Good to know.
Natalie, you learning anything?
I am.
So now once you get that loose, now the tire gets a lot looser. You can either pull it straight off, since you basically are changing everything. I'm not going to treat it with kid gloves. Now you've got a naked rim. The first thing you want to do though, before you try to put anything on there, is remind yourself in a race that you have to put all those little things back on here because you don't want to lose them. You don't want to waste 4 minutes. So this is the only time I would do this, is in a race scenario. So you've got all the stuff you took with you. I make a figure 8 out of this and I put it on like a backpack. That way you can still race with it. It's not in your way, you can still ride, and you're not leaving anything on the course. That's one way. If you have to change a tire, you're going to be out of the race, so I'm not even going to go over that. So, most times you get a flat because a part of the rim has a burr in it, or like a piece of metal or glass stuck in it. So I always take my finger and rub it all the way around the inside of the rim, feeling for any hard or sharp edges. Be careful when you're doing this. If you do feel something, you want to get like a fingernail file or something and smooth it out, real soft side. Now if you're on the side of the road and you find a burr, what you can do is get a piece of gravel or a rock and just rub it until the burr goes away where it won't puncture your tire. So now that we have the tire is naked, we have a brand new tube here. We're going to unscrew the valve and the nut again because we have to go in reverse order. So we're going to put that through, and I don't want to lose any of these things because we're going to need them. And then we're going to find the valve hole. That's right there. Alright, so you put the valve in the hole. Basically the reason I'm doing this to show you is you want to keep this as flat as possible. So keep that flat around the rim. And then while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and put the nut back on. Tighten it down a little bit, not too tight, and then this just so I don't lose it. Now I'm going to go to the wheel part, because this is where it gets a little complicated. The valve can't be too tight because you have to get the wheel to go, the tire to go underneath the bead. So I always start it on one side of the valve. So I'm trying to get that edge right under there. And now I'm going to start working it around. At the same time, I'm trying to keep that tube inside of the tire. And as I go, I'm trying to press it against myself to keep it inside the rim and not getting all crazy out of control. This can be a little bit of a headache, but you just got to kind of take it 1 inch at a time and just maintain patience. And we'll be lucky if we get this one on quick. It's supposed to rain, so it'd be kind of fun if we got caught in the rain doing this.
Would add to the dramatic effect,
fun, yeah.
Right?
Most times in a race, if you get a flat, you're shaking and you're so upset and you're so like stressed out that there's a lot of curse words being said. A lot of people throw rims and curse the day they were born, things like that. Norman Stadler actually once asked how much glue do you take, and he threw his rim across the road. It was only a $1,200 rim.
It's a lot of
good
money.
Times. You see that on the 2008 Ironman that we play in the winter when we're riding. It's good reminder to just take triathlon lightly and have fun. So now you get your lever and you're trying to pick the edge of the tire up and push it into the seated rim side. You got to be very careful that you're not going to pinch the metal of the rim against the tube because we don't want to have another flat, and that's what we're trying to avoid. So you can see how the rubber's coming out here. I got to get that tube inside of the tire now. So it's where I got to be careful not to tear anything. Got a little tightness here, so we lift it up. Try to get that under there. It's nice too because today it's only 98% humidity.
Great day.
It's perfect for training. Okay, get that under there. I may have have to actually pull it from this side because it's kind of jammed. I don't want it to tear or anything, so I gotta go slowly with it. Pop it up.
Kind of feels like a water park out here.
It does. It's real nice. So Madeline, what's your first race you're gonna do?
I don't know yet.
You don't know yet?
Still looking. Still trying to swim. I did swim today though.
Good.
2 laps without stopping. So
Awesome.
I'm a real deal now.
I'm trying to be careful with this because I don't want to screw up this tube.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, it is a challenge though to get these tubes and stuff in there, but I kind of got it caught on one side when it started going in. Just go through, you stupid thing. This is where the curse words can kind of start.
Okay.
Um,
Explicit content.
yeah, that's why you never really want to have to change your tires. This usually doesn't happen. I don't know how I got this much tube on the side of it, so it's a good way to show a video of how not to do it. I don't know how it got onto the side of the tire. Maybe it was because I was trying to hurry. There's a curse word.
Parental supervision
Yeah.
suggested.
All my videos are always please be 18 or over to watch. And then you always have a rag so that you can dab.
Right. Get the grease and then you
Get the grease on your face, and then
Yeah.
your eyes, on your glasses, on your hands. That way by the end of the race you can't even hold on to your handlebars. And
Right.
It's good times. Oh, we almost got it. Like we're getting real close here. Oh, wait. Go, go, go. She's almost there. Alright, now we're on the right side of the rim.
Yay.
Now we have to work, so there's 2 edges of the rim, obviously, that's why they're called clinchers. The tire clinches the rim and holds the tube in place. So now that we've got the one side on and the tube is now back to where it's supposed to be, we can start pushing it up and then pulling the rim into place. Now this goes really easily, surprisingly, until the last few inches. And then it becomes kind of a PIA, pain in the ass.
Gotcha.
Frontal discretion there again.
Right. Censored.
So what's going to happen, the tube is all going in here, which is the plan. So we see now the tube is all the way around. Now we have this part, like, wow, how the heck is that going to get over there? It's way too tight. That's where your levers come in handy. So now you're going to have to pry it up, and hopefully you can pop it in. See? That's why I call it a pop and lock. Not really.
Perfect.
Just watch that you're not, when you reach the lever in there, make sure that you're not grabbing onto the rubber tube, because that's the last thing you want to do is pinch it again. And pop it in there. Get over here. Pop it in there. Ooh, look at it, we're getting real close. Oh, boom! Alright, so before you even put air in your thing, I'd like to tighten this down. Make sure it's seated on both sides, tighten that down a little bit, and then open the valve up so you can get air in there. But I'm going to first put 2 pumps, just small. So if you're using your CO2 cartridge in the road, you just want to put a dab of air in there just to get the tube to start expanding and taking a little shape. So you should be able to compress that with maybe 2.5 pumps. Take your air compressor, your air filler off. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go all the way around the rim, and I'm peeling it back and looking to make sure I see no rubber tube along the seat of the rim, because I don't want that tube to get caught in there, because it will make a flat immediately. So you do it on both sides real quick. At this point you're real close to being back on your bike in a race, so you should be feeling a little bit happier. And notice I probably only lost a few minutes if I was in a race. I still wouldn't be happy, but I'd be like thinking about, oh, I'm getting a break, I'm getting my heart rate down, kinda.
Maybe getting a snack.
Maybe getting a snack. Yeah, great idea, Madeline. Like right now I'd have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in a race.
Exactly.
Maybe a ham sandwich and some cheeses.
Yep.
Maybe a shot of apple cider vinegar, folks.
Yep.
That's how I roll.
Mhm.
Keeps you healthy. Alright, now that I've checked to make sure both sides of the rim didn't have tubes exposed so where I can see it and it's going to get pinched, I'm going to go ahead now and start adding a little bit of air at a time to make sure that the air is going into that. Now I'm going to test it. Okay, it seems like there's some taken. Oh yeah. Now what I'm going to do before I do more pumps, I'm going to push the wheel and help the tube to take shape around the rim. So it's still really soft, but I'm trying to help the tube find the space where it's supposed to occupy inside the rim. And now that I know that the rim has seated and it's taken air, I'm going to go ahead and pump it up to full pressure. Just keep going until you hit 110. I race on 120. Most triathlon wheels can go to 130. Anything under 100, you got to be careful with. So I'm looking at that red mark is 120. So I'm going to leave it about there. We're going to pop that off, make sure that's tight, screw that back on. And then we're going to get our plastic dust cover, which is that little cap, and that just keeps dirt from getting in there and getting in your wheel. And it's a rock hard, brand new wheel. Even though it made me sweat a little bit, we got her done. So, any questions, Madeline?
Well, I think that's...
Now we got to do the back tire. I really do recommend you guys get new wheels on for race season, train on them, race on them, but don't start a season on old wheels and race on them all year. You're going to end up with a flat. Take care of your bike, wipe it down, wax it, make sure all moving parts have oil on them regularly, and if you're riding the rain, get the WD-40 out and chase the water out of all your moving parts afterwards. So, good luck, and we will see you soon. Good work.